Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lovett. Happy New Year. We are moving forward this year by the grace of God. So today I'm going to be making a tutorial on how to draft a basic corset pattern. So I'm going to be taking my time to explain it step by step so that you can understand it. So let's get started. The most important thing to do, which I have done as you can see, is that I rule out the lines that I'm going to be needing. So you can see the lines here. So the first line is the armhole line. So I use 8 inches for the armhole. So the first line is the armhole line. This is it. I use 8 inches, and the second line is the bust point. For the bust point I use 11 inches. The bust point I'm using is 11 inches, but I added half inch. I added half inch to it. So the under bust, for the under bust I use 14.5 inches, and for this is the waistline, I use 17 inches. Though the waistline I'm working on is 16 inches, but I added 1 inch sewing allowance. So, and here this is the shoulder line. For the shoulder I use 16 inches. 16 divided by 2, that is 8, and I added half inch sewing allowance to it, as you can see. So those are the important lines that I will be needing. So the next thing to do now is to rule out the bust to bust measurement, that is the nipple to nipple. For this corset pattern, I'm going to be using 4 inches. So I'm going to be using the nipple to nipple distance is 8 inches. So the 8 divided by 2, that is 4 inches, and I'm going to be adding half inch for the sewing allowance, so that is 4.5. So I'm going to be chalking 4.5 here. So I'm going to be joining it together like this. It is very easy to draft out corset pattern if you can just relax and take your time to study it. It is so easy. It's not difficult at all. So you can see I've joined it together. So the next thing is to measure out the distance that is in between my bust point and the under bust. The distance between the bust point and under bust. So the distance that I have here is 3 inches. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be marking 3 inches round like this. I'm going to be marking 3 inches round. That is not the exact corset, but it's going to help me to get the the right measurement that I need. You will see. I'm going to show you. So here is what I have after marking the 3 inches round. I said that the space in between the bust point and the under bust, I have 3 inches. So I decided I marked 3 inches round like this, 3 inches round. You can see I used a broken lines so that it will be easy for you to identify. So this is the line, this is the circle. You can see the circle. So the next thing is that I'm going to be marking out 1 inch from here and 1 inch from here as well. You can see that. And I'm going to be marking out 1 inch from here and 1 inch from here as well. Then I'm going to be joining it. You can see I only marked the 2 inches on the waistline and the under bust. Make sure you do not mark it on, we did not need it on the bust line, so we're just going to be marking it on the waistline and the under bust alone. So that is it. So the next thing I'll be doing is that from the point, from the center here, on the bust point line, from the center here, I'm going to be going up with half inch. You can see half inch. I'm going to be going up with half inch, and I'm going to be coming down with half inch as well. The reason why I'm doing this is that I don't want the corset to have a point at the center. I want it to be blend. So I have to go up by 1/2 inch, and I came down by half inch as well. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to take my cuff ruler, and I'm going to be joining the lines together from here to here. You can see. And I'm going to be doing the same thing for the other side as well. I'm going to be joining the points together. Please, when you're drafting your corset pattern, you don't have to rush. Make sure you take a step at a time so that it's going to come out well. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is that from this side, I'm going to be coming out with 1 inch. Now, this totally depends on how busty the corset you're trying to make is, how busty the person you're trying to make the corset for is. So if the person is busty, you can use 1 inch, but if the person is not busty, you can use half inch. Half inch is enough. But if the person is busty, you can use one. So I've marked out my 1 inch here. So the next thing to do now is to, I'm going to go up here with 1 inch. Now this totally depends on how low or how high do you want your corset to be. For me, I don't want it to be too revealing, so I'm going to go up a little bit. If you want it to reveal, you can just leave it like this, and you can just leave it like this. And but if you don't, you can just come up with 1 inch or 1.5, just anyhow you want it. And if you want it to be lower than this, you can just go a little bit down. So for me, I'm going to be coming up with 1 inch because I don't want it to be too revealing. And I'm going to mark my 4.5, the dot line. I'm going to mark it here as well. We are almost done. I can see it is so easy. So the next thing to do now, I'm going to be connecting it with, I'm going to be using my cuff ruler to connect this line from here to the 1 inch that I went out with here. So I'm going to be joining it from here to here. You can see I'm going to be joining it. You can see. So the next thing is that from the armhole line, I'm going to be coming down with half inch. You see, this is the armhole line. So I came down with half inch here. You can see what I have. Then I'm going to be joining it as well. So the 1 inch that I have here, this is 2 inch, 1 inch here, 1 inch here. So I'm going to be marking it out here as well, so that it's going to give my corset the cuff. That is how I'm going to get the cuff. So I have one hinge here and the other one hinge here as well. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is that, I went up with half inch here the other time, so I'm going to be joining it from here to the half inch. And I'm going to be doing the same thing for the other side as well. You can see. So the next thing is that I'm going to be joining it from this point to this point. You can see one side is already formed. One side is formed already. So the next thing to do is that on the armhole line, it depends on you. You can decide to go down. This is the center, right? You can decide to go down with 1 inch or 2 inch. It totally depends on you how low you want the center to be. So it depends on you. You can go down by 1 inch, you can go down by 1.5 inch, and you can go down by 2 inches. But for me, I'm going to be leaving it here. I'm going to be leaving it here because I don't want it to be too low. So I'm going to be leaving it on the armhole line. That is what I'm going to be using. So from here, you're going to mark out 0.75 inches from here. Please don't make it more than that, so that your corset will not look funny. You can use 0.5. The maximum is you use 1 inch. So for me, I decided to use 0.75. So from here, the next thing to do is that I'm going to be connecting it from this point to that 0.75 inches. So I'm going to be connecting it like this. And the next thing is that I'm going to be connecting it from here to this point. I'm going to be connecting it from here to here. You can see this is one side and this is the other side of our corset. So when we cut this out and we cut this out and we join it together, it's going to give us that cuff that we need. So we are almost done. So, and for the down part, I'm going to be going, I want it to have a like a line shape. So I'm going to be going down by 20 with 20 inches. This is the 20 inches, 20 inches there. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be putting in my measurement, the actual measurement that I will be needing. So the bust measurement that I will be using is 36 inches. So 36 divided by 4, that is 9 inches, plus 2 inches sewing allowance, that is 11 inches. Then I'm going to add the extra 2 inches that I removed from here. I'm going to return it back to it. So that gives me 13 inches. Then on the bust, the under bust measurement I'm going to be using is 33 inches. 33 divided by 4, that is 8.25, plus 2 inches sewing allowance, that is 10.25, and I'm going to return back the 2 inches that I removed, that is 12.25. Then for the waistline I'm using 33 or 34 inches. So 34 divided by 4, that is 8.5, plus 2 inches sewing allowance, that's 10.5, and 2 inches uh, allowance that I removed, that is 12.5. Then I'm going to be joining it like this. Then from here I'm going to join it to my 20 inches here. So I'll make sure I rule down my dart as well. So, and I'm going to join it here as well. So that is it. So this is the number 1, this is the number 2, this is the number 3, and this is the number 4. So we are done with the corset drafting. Now the next thing is to cut it out. So when you are done, please make sure you take your time to check it out. If there's any error, if there's any mistake, before cutting, so that there won't be problem when you are trying to sew it. So now let's do the cutting. I'll start from here. So guys, here is what I have after cutting it out. You can see how neatly i I traced it. This is the number 1, this is the center front, and this is the corset. So this is the 2 pattern we're going to be then we're going to we're going to sew it. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. God bless you all. So look forward to my next tutorial. Thank you. Bye.